What's up? What's up? What's up, man? Welcome back to Okoye Knows Boxing, man. I know it ain't many of y'all on here on Saturday night, but we gonna talk anyway. Sadiqa, what's up? Salute, salute. Appreciate you jumping on, man. I know it's been about probably like a week or so since y'all caught me live. It's a lot going on with the facility, right? I have a facility that I own where I house homeless veterans, and it's a lot going on with that, as you can see. Well, as you'll know, because they probably calling me while I'm on this live. But either way, I wanted to give a reaction for the Mont Roach and Isaac Cruz fight, Pitbull, man. Good fight. A lot of people were thinking there's controversy at the end of it. And I guess that means it's controversy because some think that Roach was robbed. Robbed would be a stretch. Some think that Cruz was robbed. I think that's more realistic. And some think it was a draw. And I think that's the truth. You know what I'm saying? And the reason being, the way I break that down and the way I look at it is this, man. Um, when you are the challenger, right? You're looking for, even though Isak doesn't have a major belt, but you're still a challenger. Isak is still A side. When you look at Roach, he's A side. And he's the draw. He's the one that everybody was heavily invested in. Even the fans were behind Isak. When you're in that type of predicament, right, and you're a fighter, you have to come in. This is age old, and a lot of people hate it. They don't like it. Casual fans think that I'm tripping when I say it, but we remember Oscar De La Hoya, right? During De La Hoya's era, you had to kill a guy to take the belt. You had to take it. You couldn't go in and take someone's belt with a even Steven or a close performance. You gotta really, you have to really take that from the champion. And I don't think that Roach went in there and took it from Isak. Although I liked his strategy, I liked the things he was doing. Roach got caught early because he committed to walking Isak down too soon, right? So in the beginning of the fight, when he started, probably like the third round, after he got dropped, he started walking Isak down, right? And he started catching his hook and then hooking off that hook. And it was good. It was a good strategy, but he hurt, I think, Isak so early with that. He started to frustrate him with that hook, where Isak got out of his rhythm and started to kind of fight off his back foot a little later and kind of was wary and stayed away from Roach. But the problem is when Isak was staying away from Roach in those middle rounds, Roach had already, I think, been down maybe 4-2. I had it 4-2 going into the seventh round. So if you had a 4-2, 5-1 in the first couple rounds, you probably, it's probably more accurate. And I think that's the way the judges had it, because I think Roach did a lot better. I think it was like 4-2 in the last 6 rounds. I think Roach won about 4 of those rounds, in my opinion. So if you have it 4-2 in the final 6 rounds on Roach's favor and 4-2 in Isak's favor, to me, round wise, that looks like a draw to me, right? And I actually was going to bet a draw in that fight. So it looked like a draw to me, right? Based off of the point deduction from the ref to Isak. So that point deduction obviously wasn't I don't think it was real anyway, because when he deducted that point, or when they deducted that point, Isak hit him on his hip. It wasn't a low blow. He hit him on his side. It looked like it was a legal blow. So the fact that they even gave him a points deduction for that was a little crazy to me. And I thought that it was just like a get back point. It looked like he wanted to take the point for some reason, and he did. But either way, regardless of what you say, when you take that point into account and then you take the knockdown in the first half into account, you know what I mean? You get a draw. And I didn't have a problem with the draw. I think Roach being upset about it was due to the fact that, he wants one of those big wins, immediately. But I think the draw is a blessing for him in this fight, particular, because he doesn't get a loss, and he fought well enough where you even thought he won both fights, both Gervonta Davis's fight with him and this fight. So if you thought he won, and he didn't lose anything fanfare wise, he didn't gain the belt, but he didn't lose anything. So this allows him to move forward with his career and still be a bigger draw as he moves forward, because he didn't get that loss that some say he should have gotten in that fight. But if they really think that it was that controversial, I would like to see it again. It was definitely entertaining fight. So shout out to both fighters. I'm glad they got out of there, healthy and safe and so on. But the idea that it's just a highway robbery, I didn't agree with it, and I thought that those that are out there saying it, just you rooting for your fan of whoever, whether it be Roach or Pitbull, and regardless of what side of that line you're on, of course you're gonna say your guy got cheated. That's just the way it goes. But the other interesting topic would be see a guy I'm in the gyms. I see him a lot. We don't know each other, but I see him a lot, and that's Cool Boy Steph or Stephen Fulton, right? He lost to Foster, Osheki Foster. And I think that, Osheki definitely came prepared. You can't take anything away from him. But for whatever reason, I didn't see a focused Stephen Fulton. And people say that when you say that, you are taking away from the opponent's victory. Both can be true. Osheki Foster did everything he was supposed to do in that fight. My hats go off to him. He came prepared. That's his job. He did that. There's no excuses. He did what he's supposed to do. Stephen Fulton did not, because he was not prepared for this fight, but he did not look prepared physically. He looked like, as you saw on the scales, looked like he struggled to make weight, and he didn't make weight. He missed weight. And obviously, if you're spending your camp, which he probably was, trying to make weight, you're not working on strategy. You're not working on like the things that you may need to implement to beat an opponent like a Foster, right? So I'd like to see that fight down the line with um, a healthy Fulton. But one way or another, he got in the ring. He had to do what he had to do. Um, Gutsy performance when it comes to getting to the bell, because he could have quit at any moment in that fight the way he was looking. But he made it through it. I definitely would like to see him in shape. I don't know what's going on with him, but I hope he cool. You know what I mean? Shouts go out to him, and glad everybody got out the fight, healthy or whatever. But I think he need to go within and figure out what he want to do next as far as boxing is concerned, and rededicate himself to his craft, because he's one of the top in the game when he chooses to be. You know what I mean? So hats go off to those guys and hope they get it back and get it right. You know what I mean? But also much respect goes to Foster, who fought a great fight, did what he's supposed to do. But it's still an asterisk on this particular fight, because I want to see what he can do against a game ready opponent. And I don't think Fulton wouldn't say he was ready. His weight wouldn't say he was ready, and I don't think Foster would say he was ready. There was a lot of trash talk, so I know Foster felt good about winning because of all the back and forth, but Fulton wasn't ready. You know what I mean? I just don't think so. Um, and lastly, right? So not lastly, is other topics, but the main issue, right? The main thing that we gave him for is Crawford versus Canelo rematch. Right? Everybody's talking about Crawford versus Canelo too, and it's starting to heat up. People are starting to say that that's what they want. That's what Crawford's doing next. And I think they're floating it out there because Canelo has enough fans that may be in denial that may pay to watch it again. But anybody who really pays attention to boxing and knows boxing knows that, number one, I don't think Canelo will want to do it again. If he does, hats go off to him. I'll be surprised, but and maybe his ego is forcing him to, say, "Hey, I couldn't have lost this bad in at all, so let me try again, maybe." And that's good for him. But um, this particular fight, though, is not a good one for Canelo, because the way Crawford beat him, I just don't see it being something that he's going to be able to overcome. I don't think he can go back to the drawing board and come up with a strategy that can subdue what Crawford put out there, because Crawford did not fight the right fight. And when I say that, I mean, obviously he dominated and he won. But when I say he didn't fight the right fight, he didn't fight the way a smaller fighter would fight a guy like Canelo. He didn't fight on his toes. He wasn't moving away from him. He didn't run. He fought Canelo the way Canelo would want a smaller man to fight him, which is right in the phone booth. And he beat him doing it. So to lose a fight that way, when you got the looks that you wanted and you got the situations that you anticipated, and then you got dominated in those situations, what else could you possibly come up with that could subdue that, other than going back to the drawing board and I guess trying to deliver blunt force trauma with some of those blows that you did land. But you would go out there with a puncher's chance if that's your strategy and that's what you're doing. So I don't think that the Canelo rematch will happen. I think they're floating it to see how much fanfare they get for it, and I don't think it'll happen. But if it does happen, I think it'll go exact same way it went the first time. I think Crawford already has Canelo in his head. And I think if he elevates his game or changes his strategy, preparing for the second fight, I think he'll confuse Canelo even more because he knows what Canelo is going to try to do. Canelo doesn't know what his adjustment to that will be, though. So, I mean, hopefully they do it. It'll be good for boxing, but I don't think it'll be great for Canelo, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's the fight for him, but it's probably the biggest money fight they can make with each other. I mean, it is each other right now. So, has to go off to my, I ain't hating on it. I'll watch it, but I just don't think it'll happen, and I don't think it should. Um, Outside of that, man, I mean, the other fight that everybody doesn't think should happen, that probably will happen, and I think is a glaring mismatch, or it's a bought and paid for victory for Jake Paul, and that's Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. There is no way in hell Jake Paul beats Anthony Joshua in a straight up fisticuffs, Marks of the Queensberry boxing match. Ain't no way. Ain't no way that is a real fight. Now, if Jake Paul does not get annihilated, and I mean quick, fast, and in a hurry, then I would think that he bought and paid for a victory or something that looks good, sort of like the Mike Tyson fight, in my opinion, with Joshua, because I can't see Jake Paul signing up to really fight Anthony Joshua and meaning it, because he doesn't have the pedigree. I like the fact that he boxes as a martial art, because I think boxing is a martial art. So the fact that he's not a traditional boxer and he took up boxing and he looks pretty good doing it, especially if he were lined up or matched up against the average citizen, has to go off to Jake Paul. I like the fact that he is dedicated to at least training. Even if he's on PEDs, doesn't matter. You are training as a fighter and you've taken on the mindset of one. I like that for him and his brother, because I like that for anybody. I think you should learn how to defend yourself as a grown man or as a person. You should know how to defend yourself in this world. Stay dangerous, right? But come on, man. Him being good enough just off the couch to fight Anthony Joshua, nah, I don't think that's realistic at all. And they said, at the end of the day, it's a match that he's excited about. I don't believe that. So I don't know what this is or what's going on. It's getting a lot of views. They're making money just off of the attention it's getting, probably. But I just don't know what's behind the scenes with that fight. I never felt good about it, nor do I think that it's going to be a real fight if it were to occur. So that's part of the issue. But still, I'm gonna watch it. Like I said, I'm gonna watch that joint. Um, uh, BJ Ork Taylor says, hopefully we see Joshua versus Wilder before it's all said and done. Yeah, I want to see that. I think that should be, honestly, that should be Anthony Joshua's next fight, is Joshua versus Wilder, because that's a fight everybody wanted to see, and I don't think Wilder is going to be boxing for very much longer. I was mad about what and Malik Scott is a Philadelphian, so we like much respect to every trainer and everybody that come from Philly that do what they're supposed to do. I mean, much love to him. But Malik Scott, I think his style didn't gel with Wilder's style. You know what I'm saying? So when you got a guy that teaches footwork and teaches pure boxing like Malik Scott teaches, and you got a guy that is a plotted footed, kind of clumsy power puncher that got like a Frankenstein type style in Wilder, who just a come forward 1, 2, 3 ABC type of guy. And he got all the way to the top doing that, right? And it wasn't much to it. He just needed to land his poison, his right hand, right? You don't teach that guy how to be a pure boxer. He's not Georgie Benton. You teach him, when you have a guy that has that type of talent, that type of punching talent, you teach him how to better deliver his poison. Okay? You don't teach a snake to be, you don't teach a cobra to be an anaconda. You know what I'm saying? You teach him to better deliver his venom, meaning to fight his fight better. Just because, the other styles work for other types of fighters, right? It's great. It looks good. But it's not good for a guy who needs to be moving forward, who needs to be a pressure style or a stalking puncher. You know what I mean? He's like the new George Foreman. He needs to be a puncher. So when I have a fighter who might be tough, whatever his skill is, everybody got a special talent when it comes to boxing. Some people have good cardio. They can just move all day. I don't take that guy and say, hey, fight in a phone booth. No, you can move all day. You don't get tired. Oh, all right. I'm going to teach you how to fight that fight then. But if you're short and you can't really use your reach and judge distance because you are shorter. You have to be inside. So now I'm going to use your dexterity and your footwork to show you how to close distance and explode inside and get close fast and close range fast, like Tyson, right? That would be a Tyson, a quick-footed, athletic, short guy, can't box off the back foot, you know what I'm saying, from distance. And if you teach him that, it don't matter how good he is or how good he could have been, you're teaching the wrong dog the wrong fight. You know what I mean? And that's what I think happened with Malik Scott. Malik Scott's a great coach. I just think the problem is he taught his style, which is a boxer, pure boxer or counter puncher style, to a attacker, to a stalker who's a pressure fighter that needs to come forward in Deontay Wilder. And I know I'm going deep into this, but this is something that does irk me when it comes to certain styles, like especially watching Wilder. Wilder looks bad right now, but not because Wilder's bad when he's in the ring, right? It's because he's lost his identity. He doesn't need the special moves or any L steps. He don't need to learn how to cakewalk. Wilder needs to learn how to set up his right hand from multiple spots. Just like remember Kyle Korver? Kyle Korver couldn't do shit but shoot threes, right? Reggie Miller was a great three-point shooter. What does a three-point shooter do, especially an off-ball shooter? He moves without the ball. He gets to his spot. You get him the ball in rhythm, and he shoots from his spots. Get to your spots and shoot your shot. That's all you should be teaching Wilder. Get to your spots. Set up your shots. Get to your spots. That's it. And then you set up one look, and it's progressive. I'll show you one look and how to set this one up. And then once you start seeing that they're countering that or they're sitting on that type of look, now we have something that it evolves off of. Like when I got him looking for the right hand, now I'll set up left hooks off that right hand. You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't know what's coming. Quick right hands, left hooks. And then after that, it's a progressive offensive style that you should be teaching him how to deliver his poison. And I think that's where we got missing with Wilder. But I don't think there's anything wrong with Wilder. He got heart, still got the same right hand. He's just fighting too much off the back foot, and he's not fighting to his identity. A lion ain't shit if he fight like a wolf. You know what I'm saying? And a wolf ain't shit if he fight like a lion. They ain't the same, but they dangerous as hell if they are themselves. Be yourself. So Wilder should be himself in the ring. Wilder is a killer that needs to come forward. I think him and Joshua would be a great fight if he comes in with the identity that he should, which is a guy that needs to just get to your spots, and your job should be, I'm going to fire this right hand at you as many times as it takes to knock you the fuck out or knock you out of here, man. I'm going to fire this right hand at you from up, down, left, right, everywhere, and then I'm going to see if you can take it, but I'm going to make sure I get into positions to shoot my shot. You know what I'm saying? He said, come on, man. Reggie and Korver don't belong in the same sense. I wasn't saying that they on the same level. I'm talking about a spot shooter versus a guy that can create. They're not creators. They're spot shooters. That's all I was saying. Reggie Miller is obviously worlds better than Korver. Korver. Let me say that so y'all don't think I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. All right, you are right. But the reason I put them in the same sentence is because they're spot shooters. They don't create. Not because they're the same. You know what I'm saying? He said, did you watch the Cassidy versus Easy battle? I ain't really into rap no more. I have been watching it online, but watching it on IG, you know what I'm saying? Watching all of the back and forth that they got going on. But I haven't watched the battle, no. But I watched the back and forth. But it don't take me real long to spot a clown. And Easy the block captain, man. That's a bad job. I don't really like the bull, and I don't mean personally, I don't know him. But he's not, he don't got the it factor for me. Like when I'm watching him, like he looked like what Cassidy say is, which is weird bull. So nah, I wasn't really interested because I figured Cassidy was going to roast him anyway because he was roasting him leading up to it. And you really don't want to bid with Philadelphians anyway. Like, your nerds here grind you up. I'm a Philly nerd. People think that I'm like, I'm tough. I'm from the project. I'm from the toughest place here in Philly. Richard Allen, shout out to Richard Allen, love him popular. But so I could fight and all that because of that. And I've been in my fair share of crazy shit just like everybody else here in Philly. But I'm the smart bull. You know what I'm saying? So, but we'll grind you up. You know what I'm saying? We ain't scared of that. And I'm the smart bull. You know what I mean? I'm the smart bull in the crew. I'm not the goon. I ain't the shooter. You know what I'm saying? So if that's me, just imagine how it is going up against Philadelphia. Like we think everything funny. We don't take nothing serious, and we will grind you up. So battling the Philadelphian is different. And then you get tough, you're gonna get laughed at, and you might get beat up or clapped. You know what I'm saying? So battling Philadelphians is just bad for you. So I don't think Easy was going to stand a chance against Cassidy anyway. I just ain't see it. And I saw Cassidy sock him. Cassidy seemed like he, you know what I mean? He could come to the gym and learn some things when it comes to the way he punched him, because I don't think that was a clean joint. But other than that, that's all I saw was that, the lead up, you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? Hope it was a good battle. That's all I could say. But outside of that, man, like I said, those fights is the fights that I was interested in the lead up. You know what I mean? So we got exciting boxing coming up, man. Hold up. He said, as weird as Block is, he better than Cass and his tired schemes. He got tired schemes. I mean, you think Easy the Block Captain's better than Cassidy, bro? I can't. I don't know how old you are, but in the era I come from, man, for Cassidy to even be here talking and battling Easy the Block Captain, let me know how magnanimous or how powerful his status is as far as rap goes, because he's still here. And Cassie been around since I was a young boy. I'm 42. He's still rapping. You know what I'm saying? Easy the Block Captain. I'm just hearing about him, and I ain't heard about him because of rap. The only reason I know who Easy the Block Captain is because he smashed Remy Ma and got knocked out by Papoose. That's the only reason I know him. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure he was a great battler before that, or during that. But bro, you got slashes. I mean, I don't want to hate on you, bro. Whatever style you got, maybe they do that where you from, but I don't understand it. And then authenticity is real to me too. Like, I don't understand his style, and then authenticity is very important to me. You know what I mean? I like people that keep it real. And I don't know. He keeps saying he's from Philly, but he don't even know Philly. Like, he be saying the wrong neighborhood, the wrong directions. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where bull from. And I ain't here to tell you ain't from Philly, but he don't seem like, a Philadelphian. And this is coming from a guy who people say, oh man, you don't seem like you from where you from, because I'm articulate. You might catch me talking. I was in sales for 20 years. So you might catch me talking articulate or speaking the King's English real quick, and you forget I'm not from the suburbs. You know what I'm saying? People be thinking, people play me sweet sometimes. They think like, oh man, he's well spoken and he chill. I am, but they don't think that I'm from where I'm from or I am who I am at the same time. So I get that. I understand that, but I'm myself. And I think Easy the Block Captain is a character. And then, like Cassidy said, you the block captain of where, bro? Like, I don't know, man. That's just where you block? Where was you from? Where you from in Philadelphia? And why you even claiming something that you're not? Like, just be what you are and let that stand for what it is, regardless of where you're from. You know what I mean? If you're from Reading, if you're from Pottstown, wherever, just be that. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But that's how I feel about it. But I hope it was a great battle. But back to the boxing, John, man, like I said, there aren't any other fights. I think the Inoue fight is interesting, but I need to study both guys long enough. I already know Inoue's game, but I need to study his opponent to be able to give you a clear breakdown of, how that would go. But Picasso, or however you say his name, is, I think, a good opponent for him. But I need to break down more than one fight in order to know exactly how that's going to play out. So you'll get that in the next video for sure. But that is definitely the scene right now. I think the Roach fight. Oh, I missed one fight. How I missed this? Y'all let me miss the Shakur versus Teofimo conversation. I mean, Shakur and Teofimo, I think it's going to be a good fight. But Teofimo right now, man. Yeah, you said it, Paul. You was right on it, Paul. That's crazy. But Teofimo right now, I think it's like he's probably one of the more dangerous opponents Shakur has ever fought. I don't think Shakur is right when he says they're not the same pedigree, because I think athletically, Shakur is definitely better athletically and definitely has the pedigree, right? But at the same time, Teofimo's explosive. He's rangy. He's dangerous. You know what I mean? Strong guy. Has the it factor, and he's definitely game. He could beat anybody in the game. But, at the same time, we saw what Kambosos was able to do as far as outboxing him and so on. But the thing that people not paying attention to when it comes to Shakur versus what Kambosos did, Kambosos will fight you along with boxing you. But the fact that he handedly outboxed Teofimo does trouble me when it comes to Teofimo versus Shakur. But the difference is Kambosos was willing to get in there and fight Teofimo at the same time. And I don't think Shakur wants the Teofimo fight to become a fight. I think he wants to box Teofimo and kind of dominate using his athleticism. You know what I'm saying? So if you're just looking at it from a pure boxing standpoint and athletic standpoint, Shakur is my favorite in that particular in that regard. But Teofimo definitely got a chance. I think it's going to be a good fight. Teofimo, leading up to the fight, the shit that he's saying right now, just wow, pause moments, all crazy. But Teofimo's trying to get in Shakur's head, which is smart. I think it's good to do and keep it light and keep him off kill. I think Teofimo fights better. That's my dog and my little Frenchie in the background if y'all hear him gurgling. But I think he fights better when he's loose and free and he's not so tense and anxious. I think in the big fights that I've seen Teofimo in, he drains his energy not because he doesn't train well enough to go 12 rounds. And he may be a front runner, I think, but it may be the fact that he drains himself due to tension. I see a tense fighter that's tight in the beginning of fights, although that still leads, he's still powerful, he's still throwing strong punches, but he's tight. And when you're tight and anxious, you waste a lot more energy, even when you're doing nothing. Like just imagine holding your hands up, but you flexing your muscles at the same time versus just having your hands up. There's no tension here. But if I just clench my fist and I'm tense, I'm draining energy just by holding my hands. And Teofimo was tense, I think, in his big fights against Lomachenko, tense, Kambosos, tense, and he was hesitant due to that. So when you have that, I think you definitely drain yourself. And I would like to see Teofimo go into this fight a little looser, a little more carefree. And I think that would be the litmus test that takes him to a level where he can compete with a Shakur. You know what I'm saying? But can't wait to see the fight, man. Ant, what's good? He said, Okoye, I hope Stevenson lose. Shakur, I don't hope he lose. When I watch a fighter that I have doubts about, like I have doubts about whether Shakur can beat guys like Gervonta or Haney. But when I have those doubts, it's not because I don't want them to. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I hope he do. But if he does, it'll be because at the end of the day, he did what he was supposed to do and he rose to that occasion. I want to see him do it. Hold on a second. All right, my bad, folks. My bad. My wife came in and did some things, so she's making noise. I put it on mute. But anyway, you said, does he beat Ryan? Does Shakur beat Ryan? I think Ryan is a dangerous opponent for anybody because of that left hook. But Ryan's big as hell, man. I think Shakur would dance around him, and he'll beat him because he can control range and control distance. And I don't think he'll ever fight Ryan like straight up. And in order to beat Shakur, the reason I think it's a bad matchup for Ryan is if you're a left-handed dominant fighter like Ryan, where your superpower is your left hook, southpaws are difficult unless you're circling to your right, starting with your right hand and coming back with that left. And Ryan doesn't really have that type of footwork, in my opinion. So and then if he's going circling to his left against a southpaw, he'll be canceling out his own work, his own left hook. I think you need a good right hand and good footwork in order to beat Shakur. You need a good right hand and good footwork and semi good athleticism, but you need to be a puncher and you need to be able to move a little because you're not going to get as many shots as he's going to get off on you. So you're not trying to beat Shakur by outpointing him or hitting him more than he'll hit you. You're not going to hit him that often. But when you get the opportunity, it need to count where you only need one. And that's why I think guys like Gervonta give him trouble because Gervonta only need one shot to get you out of here. I think guys like Haney can give him trouble because Haney can move just as well. So, those things cancel each other out. So that's what I'm talking about when I say Shakur is he's a different animal, but I don't think Ryan Garcia can beat him. I don't. What did he say? He said he hasn't shown me he got that dog in him. He just got a different style, but I'm just used to a certain style fighter, so I'm biased. Rolly, people sleeping on Rolly. He dangerous too. Rolly dangerous, but Rolly beatable because of his style, right? Shakur, I get what you're saying when you say he don't think he got that dog in him, and that's what I want to see. I haven't seen him have to go into a fight and and pull it out of himself as a fight. he usually wins because he's a pure boxer. And you can compare him to Floyd all you want. Floyd has had wars, but they just don't seem like it because people forget them. Like, what? Just Google Floyd Mayweather, Emmanuel Augustus. Emmanuel Augustus was giving Floyd work. They was going at it. You know what I'm saying? He had to really dig deep to win that fight. DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley. He had to dig deep to win that fight. Castillo twice. Had to dig deep on both. Him versus Corrales. That wasn't an easy fight. He beat him bad, but that was a dangerous opponent. You know what I'm saying? And he showed that he got that. Like Shane Mosley, dog. He had that dog in him in that fight. Cotto, you know what I'm saying? So Floyd has had fights where you're like, yo, you really, even Canelo, where he really had to go into a different bag to win. Shakur has not been tested in those ways yet, where you see him getting busted up, nose bleeding, you know what I mean, almost knocked out, caught, dropped. He hasn't been in those situations because he haven't been against that level of guy yet. And I think I agree with you there. That doesn't mean I want him to lose. That doesn't mean I haven't seen that yet. It hasn't happened. He said TL's too flat footed for Shakur, but I'm still rooting for him. He's not too flat footed for Shakur. It just depends on how you fight. I got a whole breakdown on TikTok. Shout out to myself, Okoye Knows Boxing. Go on the TikTok page though. You'll watch some of my tutorials on how to fight a southpaw. I used Sam Noakes versus Abdullah Mason for that, but Sam Noakes is very flat footed. Why was he able to land on the more athletic Abdullah Mason? He was able to land when he wanted to on Abdullah Mason because he was circling to his right and he was slow as hell. But there's a way you do it. When you circle to your right versus a southpaw, you don't lead as often. If you do lead, you lead with your jab because you want them to counter that jab with their straight left while you're over here. You dip that straight left or you counter that straight left with your overhand right, but you don't lead with your right because both of you, whoever leads with their power hand while you're circling right versus a southpaw, whoever leads kind of loses because it's so dangerous when you throw. If you throw your straight left at a conventional fighter who's circling right, he's already over here. And if you're a southpaw and you throw that straight left while you're coming back, you're getting caught with that overhand right if he throws it on time, no matter how slow he is. You know what I'm saying? So if Teofimo can circle to his right and be a right-hand dominant fighter, he can definitely give Shakur some trouble if Shakur ever comes close enough for him to fight. If Shakur fights him like he fought De Los Santos and runs most of the fight, it won't be fun at all to watch, but he'll probably win it pretty handily. You know what I'm saying? But it won't be fun. Oh, Maidana too. Yeah, he definitely had to dig deep against Maidana. He said, remember old boy Paul Williams? Yeah, those types of fighters that made me love boxing. Oh, I get what you're saying. You like a pressure fighter. You like guys that come forward. The guy that made me love boxing again, because I hated it. I mean, my uncle used to make us box since I was 7. I've been boxing. I couldn't stand boxing though. But what made me love it, what made me realize what I knew, I said, damn, you know how to do this. And that right there is what it's supposed to be. Boxing is a martial art, man. I look at it like the more athletic guy, the powerful guy, the stronger guy shouldn't always win if it's a martial art. If it's just fisticuffs and we just fighting, you know what I mean, for the cardio, yeah, the strongest, fastest guy always wins, right? But boxing is as an art form, man. I saw Bernard Hopkins versus Tito Trinidad, where he just took the fight away from him, man, in such a crazy way that I was just like, that made me look at boxing totally different because I knew Trinidad was the more powerful guy. He's a more popular guy, the favorite. So when Bernard he don't hit super hard. He don't got knockout power where he just knocking guys out one punch. He ain't fast. He ain't that damn strong. But he was able to use his mind to dominate a guy who was a heavy favorite. And I think in 01, 9/11 actually, 2001. Yeah, 9/11 or I think 9/11 or 9/10, 2001 they fought. That was an amazing fight. That changed me. That fight changed me because I started coming back to boxing when I was 18 because of Bernard Hopkins. So I would say that's the type of fighter that made me fall in love with boxing again. Bernard Hopkins, Andre Wars, the Floyds. I like guys like Georgie Benton, Charlie Burley. I'm a boxing historian. I did nothing but watch Gene Tunney, Gene Fulmer. You know what I'm saying? You could just keep going on and on and on. You know what I mean? Jake LaMotta, so on. But my favorite is Jersey Joe Walcott, man. I like all the old school fighters. Edric Charles. Charlie Burley. I don't think guys even know who Charlie Burley is, but he was a member of what they call Black Murderers Row. Him, Sandy Sandler. It was a whole army of those guys that was like they was just vicious during that era, man. Joe Gans, Kid Gavilan. You can keep going. Willie Pep. I like all the old school fight. And if you study those guys, you see so much missing from today's boxing. That's why I'm a coach today, because there's so much that's missing in the game that they were doing back in the day that these young guys haven't even seen. They haven't heard of, like their timing. And I'll say these things and I'll let y'all go because we kind of off the topics of the fights coming up. But from a coach standpoint, if you wanted to hear this, right? The timing. Oh, Wilfredo Benitez, that's a defensive master. Rest in peace, Wilfredo Benitez. Salvador Sanchez, all those guys, man. It's like Azuma Nelson, Pernell Whitaker. You keep going. Meldrick Taylor. There's a lot of guys, but timing today in boxing is off because everybody uses the mitts. If I'm hitting your hands, and the reason you see guys that get tired now, they super athletic, right? But they can't punch the way you would want them to punch all day long, and they can't box all day long on their toes either. That's because the way they train is different today. Like if I'm using solely hand mitts to teach you timing, your timing is reactionary. Action and reaction can never be at the same speed. If you're reacting, you're always slower than the person who's acting. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm initiating the action, even if you are quick enough to outtime me and counter me, your action is based off of mine. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the mitts. Your action is based off of the coach. It's not your timing. It's the coach's timing. And if that coach changes his rhythm, or if your opponent changes his rhythm, you're going to punch at a different rate, and you're going to either go up in your punch rate or down depending on the angle that person gives you. When you develop your own timing on a speed bag, on a double end bag, you know what I'm saying, and mentally just, you know what I mean? When you learn how to develop your own timing on a speed bag, I don't know that many fighters that can even hit a speed bag properly today. I watch them in the gym. I'm 42. I'll go to the gym and I'll watch guys, and guys will watch me. They'll be watching me on a speed bag, right? And I'm like, if you're watching me, that means you probably see something that looks interesting to you. But at the same time, I'm 42 and I still can do this. And you are a pro boxer and can't do it or have never done it. That is a problem, because these used to be commonplace drills that I do and that we teach, right? Now, I very rarely see a guy that can do them, and these are pros. I go and watch all the pros. I watch a lot of guys train. And now, obviously, some things we are very cloak and dagger in the boxing community. So we do teach certain things in the dark. We don't want everybody to know what we do. That's how most coaches are. We don't like to record things like that. So some of these things are being done and you just don't see them. But I know for a fact the speed bag is not one of them, because I go to gyms and I see speed bag be dry. Everybody want their coach to get the mitts though, because of fluid. It's like, it look better. This is what it is. No, that's good reaction. It's good for counter punchers for sure. And the mitts have their place, but there's a certain way they should be used. And when they're not used that way, you're handicapping that fighter, man. And that's just my opinion. You know what I mean? But it don't fail. So it's becoming a fact because it's being tested scientifically. You know what I mean? But Paul, appreciate that. He said my boy was Wilfredo Benitez. He said, and then Antoine said, sure, if you cover this fight, we will be watching in the barbershop. That's a fact, man. That's a fact. But I'm about to go get some dinner and fall back, man. But I appreciate y'all joining up and watching. And thanks for watching this episode of Okoye Knows Boxing. And we out. Peace.